What's up, everyone, and welcome to the RRBG podcast. In this episode, I talked to Jason and Justen Parris of Wake Brewing. They are one of the most metal breweries out there. They put out flexi discs similar to like Decibel magazine. They put those in their 4-packs. They do collaborations with bands. They have incredible artwork, and their beer is top notch. We talked about their brewery. We talked about their career, getting to the point that they're at now. We talked about their future plans. We talked a lot about beer, but we also talked a lot about music, and it was a great time. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to follow them at Wake Brewing on all the things. Click down here on the follow button and the little bell next to it so you can get notifications. It helps just get more visibility on the algorithm, and that's the only way the show will grow. And if you get a chance, go to patreon.com/RRBG. Support the podcast, get access to some of these exclusive clips, and sometimes I re-record episodes with people and they end up there, and you get these different versions, these different conversations that are only available on the Patreon, as well as some live stuff that I've done at Cycle Las Vegas and everything else. Cheers. Real quick, shout out to Killcliff. Thank you for my wakey juice. That's gonna. I have 3 podcasts today, and this will get me through all 3 of them. All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. I am joined today by Jason and Justen of Wake Brewing. How are you guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
I'm all right. Excited to talk to you guys. It's been a while in the making.
Right.
You guys at the brewery right now?
Yeah, we are. We're just chilling.
True. So tell me about the scene right now in Rock Island, where you guys are at, because in Florida, you know, when I was doing the beer thing with Cigar City, it was a very powerful, like, camaraderie, social aspect. You know, like everybody was getting together, doing bottle shares. And then I moved to LA and I got jaded by the whole thing because everybody out here was just trying to get smoothies in a can,
right?
And you know, fighting each other in line, and just you have to be in the cool kids club if you want to make it in time. So, what is it like over there for you guys?
It's way more chill. I mean, we've got in Rock Island alone, we have 3 different breweries. We all or 4.
Yeah, 4
just in the little city of Rock Island. In the greater Quad Cities, which is Iowa, Illinois, we're bordered on the Mississippi. There's something like, what did we figure? 14?
Yeah,
14 different breweries.
Nice.
So everyone gets along.
Yeah, that's within 10-mile, 15-mile radius, of each other. So
yeah, we have a few breweries that are 25 plus years old. I mean, it's old school craft beer area that just happens to be 2 hours outside of Chicago. So I mean, we're tiny, but I mean, we're mighty in the craft beer world. I think per capacity, population and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, for sure, you guys. I mean, you've made your way into the scene in terms of being present and being there. You're at all the festivals, well, at least the big metal festivals,
right?
And also you're doing really cool stuff with music. You got the flexis that you guys put out,
right? Yeah.
How did that happen? Like, how did you guys start doing that, the flexis?
I mean, it was one of those things where we looked at it in a way of like, how do you find your own lane in the craft beer world? How do you find how do you define yourself, or how do you find your cult, your core group of other breweries that you want to like link up with? And me and him both are avid record collectors, and I just, not gonna lie, I mean, Albert was a genius with Decibel adding the flexis in his monthly Decibel mag, and I was just kind of like called him up one day. I was like, "Hey, dude, so who prints your flexis?" He's like, "Well, the fucking company that takes out the 1-page ad in the back of it every month." And I was like, fair enough, because I noticed
one.
Yeah, I noticed that the flexi itself sits almost perfectly on our 4-packs. So I was just like, okay, well, I could buy a real lame fucking TV commercial for 3 times this price, or I could put out a rad ass record with a killer band, and this really drives home our demographic of who we're trying to link up with. And then also, not only put out like, I feel like really good craft beer, but also really cool limited records with relevant bands.
Yeah. Shit we're into.
So, okay. I mean, I know, but for the people that are watching and listening, what are you in? What is it that you're into? Like, what are some of the big bands that you like to work with?
Well, I mean, just recently we did the Primitive Man one.
Nice.
We've done one. We have a couple. We did a Bongzilla 7-inch.
Yeah, that was actual physical 7 versus the Flexi on that one.
Yeah, we did that. A band called Resin, a grind band called Closet Witch. I mean, we have some that are coming up that, I mean, I don't think it's a huge deal to announce a couple of them, but like Body Void, we got something coming up with them.
A Seed.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to keep it a little diversified. I mean, it's definitely got its sludgy doom, but I mean, we do like grind. I mean, we're music lovers. I mean, I listen to jazz too, and I'll go from John Zorn to Charles Mingus to, you know, Sumac. You know, so it's a little bit of everything.
Should get Sumac to play at the brewery.
Dude.
We would love to. Sumac, if you happen to see this, please come out and play.
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, that band is like, they're kind of in that same league as what I put like Neurosis in. Like, it's almost like a ritual experience when you see them. Like, I mean, it's emotional. Like, it's emotional.
I'm actually talking to Brian after this.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, Brian Cook. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Funny story. We did a whole podcast last week, and I forgot to record it.
Yeah, that's the thing that happens, right? We just did an interview for actually a book for the Quad City, because it is a really old craft beer scene in the middle of nowhere for whatever reason.
They had two different recorders, and neither of them worked.
Yeah, they call me back. They're like, "Oh man, we had fucking gold." And I was like, yeah, dude, that doesn't really happen twice. So now, like, I feel like, yeah, I was like, just email me the questions and I'll try my best to remember what was said. But yeah, both recorders. One was like a fucking cassette recorder where I'm just like, well,
are we going to 8-track?
Yeah, that's what I was. It's fine. It's whatever. I mean, we'll get it.
It'll happen.
It's a great idea. No, before this, well, I still do it, but I book a lot of bands too. That was my main gig on how I paid my bills, is I booked for a smaller venue in Rock Island called Rock Island Brewing Company, which happened to not brew beer, but
okay.
Yeah,
and they were just like a
beer bar.
gypsy brewer.
Well, at one point, like back in before Prohibition, it was actually a brewery, but the person that owns it just bought the rights to the name in the late 70s, but it was a small live music venue that happened to have like 100 different craft beers rotating all the time. So
that's cool.
I booked that room for about 13 to 14 years, but I actually did, Sumac, a ton, High on Fire. I mean, that's kind of, it's just kind of like where we found like fell in love with craft beer. I re-embraced the metal scene because I kind of walked away from it. In college, you know, you kind of start reading books and you start thinking, like fucking free jazz and, Don Cherry and all this like weird shit.
Chick Corea.
Yeah. You start thinking you're like, the indie rock scene and all that. And I just kind of like, but through working at that venue, I just kind of reestablished and was like, man, this is actually my family. Like, I love these people. I love the metalhead crowd. I don't have to deal with, there's no real fucking egos, everyone, they're happy to play, it's just a way different vibe.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of went through a little phase like that too, where I went to college and was taking jazz history, and
right.
I'm like, wait, what is all this? And just went down that rabbit hole for a while, and then eventually came back and started playing music, and that's when I started embracing everything. Yeah. But I missed so many bands in the process that now I'm friends with, that I've never even heard. I'm just like,
yeah. Screwed on that.
Yeah, you mentioned Bongzilla, and I'm looking at your website right now, and I can't help but give a shout out to our late great John Hopkins, who's in the video and your website.
Yeah.
Cheers. I had him on shortly before he passed, and it was really sudden, I guess, for
Yeah.
everyone, because I know he was like living healthier and like trying to.
It was a
sucks,
shock.
man.
We were supposed to hook up with him later on that afternoon. He was coming back into town to finish up. I think he was doing work with Brian Barr from Seethe, and he was finishing up his solo record. I think supposed to come in town and do some mixes. And I mean, fucking just tragedy. The only silver lining in the whole thing is he was able to be home, had an awesome meal with his mom, you know, on his birthday. You know, he got to eat what he wanted to eat for his birthday, got to sleep in his own bed, you know. So there was just, I try to look at the positives on that. That dude was just such an insane, you know, insanely nice person. Like, you just don't meet a whole lot of people like that, and a person so open and willing to connect dots. I mean, I remember, I'm sure if we look through our Instagram, there was the loop where he's just like, hey, Eddie, Jason's cool, you're cool, you guys should do this piece. Like that. He was always doing that to me.
Yeah.
I mean, Wake would not look like Wake, and it would have got there, but it wouldn't have got there
through the means it did.
Yeah, I mean, just he was able to. I mean, he gave me fucking Eric Roper's phone number and email, and he's just like, he's like, who do you want to, you know, do the logo? And I was like, man, I would love to have Eric Roper do it. He's like, him and Matt Pike, I happen to have High on Fire playing. They're like, well, fucking call him. I'm like, I don't know, dude, if it's that simple. And it literally, I shot an email to Eric, and within 5-10 minutes, he's like, oh man, I've never done a beer brewery or anything. And, you know, if you're a friend of those two, you're a friend of mine. Let's do this. And it was insane.
Yeah, man. Those are the type of people I want to surround myself with, you know, that hook, you know, the connecting of the dots. I even have that. If you look at my personal Instagram, it says a connector of dots, because I just love uniting people. And John is like that. Like he hooked me up with Matt Pike for the show. And after I put up that episode with Matt Pike, I had like 7 different podcasts hit me up like, how'd you get Matt Pike?
Right.
I'm like, well, my buddy John emailed him, you know, and
that's
all. And that shows also, like, on Matt's side, like Matt was like, yep, whatever John wants, I'm there. If you're a friend of John's, you're a friend of mine. I'm like, that's beautiful, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you, like, being around people like John makes you a better person and really humbles you quick, and then also makes you appreciate your, like, really down-ass friends. And you're just kind of like, I never asked him for it. I mean, he just always was like, hey, you should, you know, Bongzilla, you know, I'm trying to, like, I want to try to get them to record some new stuff. And I was like,
here's a studio in Rock Island.
I got a buddy. It's got a fully old 70s analog studio. It's killer. You know, I can talk to him. And John was wanting to do the record. And I was just like, well, if you tell him, I'll pay for the fucking recording, you know, let's go and do a 7-inch together. And if they're not vibing, we did a 7-inch together. And if they are vibing, then they'll do the album. And it just turned into this other killer relationship. But it was solely based on, you know, John really initiated it. You know, it just fell, you know, I mean, it was insane.
And the humbling thing you mentioned is true too. Like, he would be very forward, but like kind and not an asshole kind of way. And also every time I would see him and I'd be like, oh man, I'm so tired from work. He's like, I haven't been home in 360 days. I'm like, oh yeah, never mind. You're more tired.
He's got a way. Well, he's like one of those kind of dudes that like
put shit into perspective real fast for you.
He'll check you real quick. And if he doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. I mean, he ain't going to talk shit about you, but he just ain't going to be like, he'll just keep walking. You know,
more people need to be like John. That's what
absolutely
we're saying.
You're right.
Ah, man. So tell me a little bit about music for you guys. You know, you play in bands when you were younger.
Yep. Yeah. It was just a lot of just local shows. You know, I would say it was probably borderline more like punk, indie rock kind of stuff. It had some heavy edge. It kind of, I don't know, like Jesus Lizard meets like Steely Dan or something. Like, it was just really weird. I mean, you come from from like proggy, like dissonant music. It was weird. You know, I mean, I get why I'm not doing it for a living now.
I mean, it was also like, trying to combine to everything that we love, from all genres. It's just, you're going to end up with a bit of a mess, but it was played well and it was fun as shit for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we're trying to find that like gap. I mean, we've got a ton of gear and started jamming here and there, but like we looked and we're like, oh wow, we got together last time and jammed 1 year ago.
Just get you busy, man.
Like this, but it did help afford us to, we were that broke ass band on the road, sleeping on people's floors all over the world, and that's what introduced us to craft beer. Like straight up, I remember our first real craft beer, still to this day, was in Athens, Georgia. We were playing this thing called the Athens Pop Festival in 2004.
2004, we just figured this out the other day.
Yeah, we argue about this all the time.
But it's 2004.
2004, we walked into a place called the Mellow Mushroom.
And I love that place. The pizza
this
place.
was the original one.
Yeah, this was the OG one. We walked in and we were used to playing places like Rock Island Brewing Company. That was, I guess at the time, it was more like imports. And your craft was still like Leinenkugel was kind of considered like your craft core. Sam Adams was like your craft. And we walked in. I was like, oh, well, we don't go on for a couple more hours. Me and Justin are sitting there eating the pizza. And I was like, asked the waitress, I was like, hey, can you get us a picture of Guinness? And she just kind of, very nice, snobby college girl, in her own right. It's like, we don't. We're more of a craft beer bar. Have you ever had Grant's Perfect Porter? And I was like, no, I never even fucking heard of it. And she's like, if you like Guinness, I think you'll really enjoy this. She brought over the picture. And I just remember the looks on both of our faces were just like,
what the
fuck? This is so good. It was so good. We drank like 3 or 4 pitchers, completely batshit smashed up, wasted, playing our set. Don't even really remember the set.
Went back though.
Do remember going back to the Mellow Mushroom and continuing to drink that beer. And then we just chased what was called craft beer all on the East Coast. It was insane.
It was enlightening. It was amazing.
Then Justin started homebrewing immediately when we got back. It was just
nice. Yeah, man. That's awesome. That's kind of how I discovered craft beers, just touring with my band, just, going to other places, especially coming from Florida. Miami didn't really have craft beer up until, I started working in it. I mean, it was already there. There was this company called Fresh Beer, and they were the only ones that were kind of like doing the craft beer thing.
Right.
And then they got bought out by Brown Distributing, which was, another bigger distributor. And then Brown got purchased by Budweiser and AB InBev because that's what they do. They buy everyone. Right. But I remember, being on tour and like seeing shit like Victory Golden Monkey on the road. And I'm like, what the hell is this? There's a 9% beer. What does that mean?
Right.
And just other stuff that were like imported, like a Phlegum. I don't know how to pronounce that. A Phlegum.
Oh, the Belgian brewing company.
Yeah. And a couple other Three Philosophers, Belgian style, but Omegang. Yeah. And that's really, I fell in love with it. I couldn't believe that there were so many different varieties too, because I was really big into wine. And wine is, you hear the snobs be like, oh, there's so many different notes and the blah, 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 but it's still grape juice. Yeah. At the end of the day, like how fancy can you make grape juice?
Right.
Whereas beer, you've got, all kinds of, from light to dark, adjuncts that you could add, and arguably too many adjuncts are being added these days.
Yeah, no argument here.
Yeah, with wine, it's all about the subtleties of the grape and where it was grown. With beer, you can literally go from one extreme to the next. Like the sky is pretty much limitless, and we're seeing that. Unfortunately, with people throwing actual meat in beer and shit like that. Like I just can't. But I'm not dog shit. It's just not for me.
Right. What's the and no offense, what's the dumbest shit you've brewed?
It's probably the Cruller.
Oh yeah, well, it was a great beer. It was a pastry style that we added. Actually, there was a local donut shop. We got about like 60 pounds of donuts and threw it in the mash, and it's called Alistair Cruller. We did that with our buddy Sam Germano from Brewers.
Yeah, he's got Brew Host and works for Great Notion. Yeah. But even in those, like,
Like, I don't mind it with pastry stouts, like stouts. Stouts for some reason fit the adjunct bill, you know?
I feel like they have the weight to be able to carry all the bullshit you want to cram in a beer. You know, it's just like,
I mean, like the cheesecake sour.
Yeah. It's just like there's lanes that you try to find where you're just kind of like, I can respect this on a level, and if we're going to do it, like, let's do it as good as we can.
The way we want to do it,
But I mean, there's definitely styles that like we've looked at, and I was like, you know, we both, I mean, what was it, Milkshake IPA?
Yeah.
We were just like, we had all the fucking beer nerds, and I was like, hey, look, they're like, oh, you got to do this. You're killing it on these hazies, and your West Coast are fucking throttling. Like, you got to do a Milkshake IPA. And I was like, listen to the sentence you just said. But then I was also just kind of like, you know what? Then bring me the heavy hitters. And so they lined up like 6 of them, of all the like ones everyone was chasing. We were tasting. Justin's like, I got this recipe, and just boom, 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 hit it down. And we went to a local brewery and had one last one. We already had all the shit, the grains, ordered everything. And we were having this one last one, and we're looking at each other. It's like, man, are you feeling this at all? And Justin's like, I fucking hate this stuff. He's like, it tastes like Flintstone fucking vitamins. And I was like, baby aspirin. I was just like, yeah, fuck that, man. Let's not do it. If you ain't feeling it, you ain't dealing it. So it's just like, so we just kind of, okay, we got all this milk sugar. We'll do a milk stout, and the base grain's base grain.
It's not gonna go bad.
No, whatever hops you were gonna do. So I mean, it's just there is. And I'm not saying every brewery has it, but there is some form of integrity where you're just kind of like, dude, if like I can find like in the fruited sour world, like a happy space.
I think we have. We've been hitting some pretty good marks.
I just don't want to define the brewery based on that. Like I want to be able to go like, yeah, man, I can crush one of those, you know?
And let it be known there's no problem with people doing milkshake IPAs or heavy fruited sours. It's just not.
I have a problem with it, but I'm not in the beer business, so I know I don't have any bridges to burn.
Yeah. No, it's not even about burning bridges. It's more or less just like,
I like people having their own lane. I like people finding themselves and being different. I like seeing the fucking line down the block when we release like Primitive Man's Hellas Lager, the primitive lager. You're just kind of like, there's not going to be a line out the door. Right. And down the street from you, the dude's got a line. I'm like, man, good on you, dude.
Yeah.
I got to put out a Primitive Man flexi. You got a bunch of beer near circuit, puking in your parking lot.
Yeah, and then what's funny is that most of those lines, like I live close to Monkish, and Monkish gets those enormous lines, which makes absolutely no sense to me in terms of timing, because they'll shoot out a text. Or not text, a tweet. And look at me, that's how old I am. They'll put out a tweet saying like, oh, 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. I'm like, don't people have jobs?
Yeah.
Why? What? And then I used to be on the road because I was doing beer sales. So I was trying to time it where I would be right near them around the time that they usually would. And I saw the tweet. And I was like a block away. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to make it. And I park, and there was already 200 people there. I'm like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. What do you mean? You have a secret society where you're not you're giving them the info first. I know it.
Somebody is. Well, I think it's hard because, and I don't know if it's worldwide or not, but like as Americans, we're collectors of bullshit. We will, like, everyone's loves to hoard, and everyone loves to collect useless things, like whether it's Pokemon cards or there you go, buddy. There you go.
Some people get rich on that shit.
If I was home, you would see a stack of a bunch of vintage music gear, like
old booze that I don't drink.
Yeah, right. Everyone's got it, and so I'm not dissing them, in any way, because it's their passion. If that's how people want to hang out on a weekend, hang out with their friends and chasing beer, or a Wednesday at 4 p.m.
There is a difference, though, because like I used to do that. I would line up. That's how I started working at Cigar City. I would go to their Catador Club membership thing and their Hunapoo days. But there's a difference between, a beer fan that wants this crazy rare thing that happens and the people that are going and trading.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even drink the beer. These people are just buying it.
Yeah, you got the people that love the Pokemon, but then you have the other person that's literally just buying the blister packs, opening them up just to trade it out, you know.
Yeah.
PS5s, all that shit. It's all there, man. There's a market for everything. Yeah, sneakers for sure.
And it's a double-edged sword because I want the breweries to be successful. You know, I want you to be making money, and that includes selling to people like that. But, you know, I hate it.
It's secondary market. It's good.
Yeah, I hate the secondary market.
Flavor.
It would be nice if, you know, those places were the ones that actually got to sell the $250.
Yeah, no shit.
Right.
You know.
And then the people that actually end up doing something like that, then the fans shit on them. Like, for example, Westbrook.
Westbrook did something like that. Somebody else did too, and they're like, "Well, fuck it. We're just gonna sell it at that price."
Yeah. I remember going to Westbrook, and I'm looking at the menu. And my buddy's like, "Oh, we're gonna get the cognac Mexican cake, and the Pappy one." And I'm like, "Oh, Pappy, that's awesome."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, it's $250." I'm like,
"No, we're not.
No, we're not." I don't want that. Yeah. Maybe if everybody in the bar wants to chip in, we can all have an ounce.
Yeah, but you get to that point where it's just like buyer's remorse and everything. I mean, I buy old vintage guitar heads, I plug them in, and I look over at the other 14 that I have, and I was like, sounds the fucking same. Like
it's great, but like I can only play one at a time right now.
Yeah. I mean, so I would definitely have spent that $250 and been like, I'm going to say this is the best beer I've ever had right now because I just spent $250 on it. But
we should look at doing that.
I don't think Rock Island's the place.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah. So, okay. Mentioning Rock Island, are there any thoughts of maybe opening up a second location somewhere else? Is that something that's a plan?
Yeah, we've talked about it. We've kicked around the idea, but it's just kind of like almost going into somebody else's territories, like taking a piss on all their work too. Like I don't know. I'd rather just kind of like look at expanding distro and dropping kegs or something than actually like but you never know. I change my mind daily.
Rocktown's pretty good to us, man.
Yeah. But like, yeah, trying to go into a different state. I mean, everyone's got such killer breweries anymore. And that's the great thing is like, you know, just this new wave of breweries are just, they're fucking throttling, man. I mean, whether they're just doing lagers or they're doing their fruited sours or whatever, there's just like that's the nice thing is we do have the choice on what we want to drink.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, okay. And you were saying about expanding distribution. How about expanding the brewery itself? Like, what would it take for someone to come in and buy you guys out?
It wouldn't take
much.
It wouldn't take a whole lot of zeros. It wouldn't take a whole lot of zeros.
Oh man!
The amount of time since we started this place to now, I've inherited a lot of gray hairs. Yeah. So I'm cool stunting that.
5 years, none of this happened.
Great. Yeah. No, I don't know, man. I mean, the passion's still here for both of us. So it's like, that's the tough number to throw out. Like, we're still having fun. We're still having a good time. We still have a lot of shit to do, you know? Just, you know, trying to plan it out. It is getting a little bit tougher now that we have kind of thrown out more distro. Like, just, you know, that's on my side of things.
Back up,
ramping back up, especially after COVID, whatever that shit is. But just trying to get just back underneath, you know, get my feet back on the ground and figuring out exactly what we need to do and where we need to go from here. And then also supply our tap room, you know.
I mean, we're still super hands-on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you have a tapping event in a 6-hour area, I'm showing up for that tapping area. If you're tasting a Wake beer, he's been mashing it in. You know what I mean? So there's no, like, there's still a craft to it to us. And that's where we didn't want to ever lose the focus. I'd rather, like you said, almost sell the brand and walk away than bastardize it to the point that we have no hands on to it. I mean, it's our artwork. We treat this as we call it the record deal. Yeah, like this is actually the band. You know, there's a reason why we're so like focused on the visual, the vision, the merchandise, how it's presented, you know, I mean, because it's our fucking band. It's our merch table. You know, these beers are our new single, you know, and the tap list is our album, you know, so we just try to, and that's a way to kind of find a little bit more inspiration on the grind of actually, you know, because it is a fucking factory gig. People can have all the dreams they want about it, but like
you're pull the curtain back, dude. You're literally lumping shit and
you're shoveling cereal out of like oatmeal vats. It's just like
how many brewers do you have right now? Like working with you?
Right now, I got 2 other brewers that are helping now.
That's not much.
No, they're still learning and they're doing a great job. So
we'll get
cool.
there.
Yeah, I have full confidence in these guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, but I'm saying like that's not a lot of brewers like that for the amount of work you guys are putting out. Like that's a lot of beer for just 3 dudes.
But in the
ladies, I'm sorry.
Right.
yeah.
But in the same token, I mean, we look at it in a different way because of I think all of our friend who passed away as well, Barnaby,
right.
And Barnaby was the one that told us we lost a brewer at one point, and he's like, stop hiring fucking brewers and start looking at the guy who's cleaning out your tank or he's like, if they have good work ethic, you can teach them the trade if they have the passion for wanting to learn the art of it. He's like, stop trying to hire brewers. Don't look at somebody else's old habit. Like teach them, give them a real skill. And I was just like, it just changed our way that we looked at, the brew house area. We're like, oh fuck yeah, man, he's right. Like, I mean, we have people that are willing to do the grunt. I mean, cleaning a fermenter or cleaning kegs is just as important as brewing the fucking beer.
Probably more.
Oh yeah.
Probably more important because I mean, you have 12 steps or whatever to clean the fermenter out, but you have 140 times throughout the brew session that you can check to make sure you haven't made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. And if you make all that beer perfectly and then put it in a bad keg, that whole keg is gone.
I literally just said this
yesterday.
You can make a world-class product. You can make a world-class beer, and you put it in a dirty vessel. You're gonna have a dirty-ass beer. Like it's just not gonna work.
It's more important.
Yeah, that's from literally fermenter to keg to glass.
Yeah.
So you got to think about all those aspects. It's a cool it's a cool process, man. It's fun.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's what I miss. Like now I kind of want to move to Illinois and hang out with you guys because I miss that aspect of when I worked at Cigar City. Like when I joined them, they were a way smaller. I mean, they were still big, but they were a way smaller operation at the time. And, I got to do all of it. And that's what I appreciated from them is that it's kind of like school.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they put you through all of it. They put you through the ringer. Like I ended up passing out after brewing a batch of Tocobaga because it's fucking triple mashed and it was like 150 degrees outside in Florida with no AC. And I'm in there just like, ah!
Yeah.
As soon as I finished, I walk into my fucking room and I just collapsed on the floor shaking like,
Somebody was dehydrated.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah.
They put you through it.
It humbles you too. And it makes you appreciate every aspect of owning a brewery. It's no different than being in a band. The guy slinging your t-shirts is just as important as the guitar player ripping the solo.
Yeah, the guy slinging your t-shirts is likely the one who's going to get you a meal later.
Yeah.
There's enough t-shirts.
Yeah.
That's right. Man, because I love that analogy too. Because I've always made that comparison, to people that I believe the craft beer scene for a while, or it still kind of is, but for a while it felt like you were in a rock star. You're traveling. Like I was going to GABF. You walk into GABF, the first thing you see is this giant wall of T-shirts, like Ozfest. You know what I mean? It's the same idea. And I always tell people, I was like, if you're doing it right, you should feel like a rock star when you walk into a beer bar. People should be like, "Oh shit, Cigar City" or whatever. Wake's here. Oh my God, let's party! Right. Like it's a good time. And I love that comparison. So, all right. Do you guys have like a festival, kind of like a big, once a year thing, or a big beer drop that you do once a year?
We got multiple like beer drops, but I try to do like since leaving that Rock Island Brewing Company, like booking for them, I still want to keep booking shows. So we do like a series, Wake Brewing Presents, and I still book the shows that I want to book, not just trying to supply a club. But outside, we do like a 4th of July, and then we do our anniversary. On the past, we've had, Conan,
Yeah, they came and did our 4th of July.
Yeah, Bongzilla, Savage Masters, Black Tusk, Ringworm. You know, I mean, I'm trying to like
Doug.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big list of awesome names of people that have actually played our parking lot.
Nice. Do you guys do like a big beer around it, like for the anniversary, like Dark Lord does their thing and all that?
Yeah, a little. I mean, for the most part, it's more of a celebration of just everybody's support and just being here. So we'll have it because it's hot as shit in August, September.
Yeah,
so we'll do a light lager, but we tend to release our anniversary beer in November.
Yeah, when we actually open, that's I think didn't I send you home with a couple cans, the Barrel Age Ultra Omega?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the one we put out.
Yeah, you got. I think we gave you the 2020 or 2019.
I don't remember
either.
I drank it all that same weekend, and it was intense. It's such a good beer, man. And the second I remember saying, I think I said out loud to my wife as soon as I opened it, took a sip, I'm like, "Woo, that's barrel aged."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, man. You guys make really killer beer, and I love, like you said, the mentality you guys have that you treat it like a band. Your merch is all fucking super sick,
right?
So I mean, I've been a fan just from the second I heard of you, and because I'm always supportive of any brewery that likes metal,
right?
You know what I mean? Because there's not many.
It's a subculture though, and that's kind of the lane we chose. We looked at, and I mean, it's no bullshit. I mean, we looked at places like True. We looked at
Three Floyds, obviously.
Three Floyds with Dark Lord. We looked at Todd when he was with Surly. We were just like, oh man, this is fucking dope, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's dudes like metal in brew beer. Like
there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Even some females too, which is awesome. But like we I mean, like when we were coming up and looking at this, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot that we were aware of that were doing like a similar aspect to us. But as soon as we were coming up, like all of a sudden we're seeing a bunch of other places that were just like us, or like not a bunch. I mean, quite a few more than I expected, which is cool because there's a bunch of like-minded individuals. Our buddies at Sound Growler, and then now like we're getting ready to take off and go and brew with Widowmaker, who was supposed to be at the fest, but I couldn't be there.
So we fly out tomorrow to go to Boston area to brew with them tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, you do. I mean, the internet, that's the beautiful thing about the internet is you're able to you're like, oh, who's this fucker that's following me? Damn, dude, that's, and you're just like, start getting on your DMs next to each other and you're like, sending each other beers, and next thing you know, now you're flying out and going like, well, fuck it, man, let's
go hang out. Let's go hang out.
Well, that subculture also is unique because it's more social.
Yeah.
Because one thing I've learned, going all the like extreme beer and craft beer brewers conference and all that shit. Usually head brewers or main brewer guys or girls are not very social. Or they're introverts. Yeah. And that's what I liked about this little subculture is that we seem to be. It's like music, where if you're here, then you're cool.
I think it's easier to open up to when you've got a bunch of loud music playing and you all like it. So you kind of wander to the front and you're kind of looking at each other, cheersing or whatever, and it just kind of it kind of bridges that gap of the awkwardness of just
being weird.
Yeah, being weird for one, but the other thing about it is like it's easy to like I know that I can hit Chris at Three Floyds if I have a question like, hey man, like my manufacturer who I'm getting my cans from is just like fucking skyrocketed. Who do you guys, he'll just, this who I go through this, or hey, how much are you paying for your labels? Well, I'm doing, oh man, you got to go through this, use these dudes. And it's just like, that connect, I don't know how easy that would have been. Well, I know that it wouldn't have been as easy or as quick if we didn't all bond over fucking metal music. You're kind of like, well, it's just wild. Like, oh, you like Sleep? I like Sleep. All right, cool. Like, here's where I get my coasters through or whatever, just like weird shit,
So, okay, I wanted to ask dream collabs, and I mean in terms of band and in terms of brewery. If you could pick one of each that you'd like to make a beer with that you haven't already, or that you're dreaming about it?
Sumac, High on Fire,
of course.
Neurosis.
Bands are limitless. Breweries are pretty limitless too. But I mean, it's like it seems to be happening, at a pace like the dreams here, man. It's kind of weird.
We're slowly chipping away at it. Like it's gotten to that point where everything looks like it could be in the sights. Not saying that those band collabs, but like breweries, like I'd love to do something with Floyd's.
Right.
I mean, it's it's the OG. I mean, when that time, when they have time, hopefully they tap us and say, scoot down the fucking road and let's do this.
That's cool.
There's just so many good breweries, man. It's hard to, that would be a hard one to pick, but like off the top of my head, I mean, that's a no-brainer for us.
3 Floyd.
Yeah, definitely Floyd's. I mean, and then also something that's really out of like my wheelhouse, like something similar to like Jester King or something that we just don't do a lot of here. Like I love fermentation, obviously that's why I brew beer, but like to see different aspects of that, like shit,
You got to go to Hills Farmstead, bro.
That'd be another one. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's. I remember we did a collab out there with Cigar City, and just seeing the pictures of like the open fermentation in the middle of like the mountains. And I'm like, what?
And that's the kind of thing that you want, is that experience. Like, why not collab with somebody and learn? Or get to do something that's completely out of your wheelhouse and kind of like, oh man, I never thought I'd do this. I mean, we don't have like traditional lagering tanks or foiders or anything. So it'd be, let's go to a place that does this kind of shit.
Very cool. Yeah, man. It's I love it. That's one of the aspects of the craft beer scene culture that I've always loved, is the, hey, let's try it, and that it links to the bottle sharing, where it's like, here's this crazy bottle. I want all of us to try it. You know what I mean? Not just me, because I don't know. It seems selfish, but that's cool. So in terms of how nerdy do you get, Justen? I mean, are you sitting around trying to come up with new ways to dry hop, or like?
Funny you said that. Yes.
We literally have. He's got a list of all these new like trends that are happening, and we're doing these
trends and like some research. Actually, some of the shit's gone back to like 2014. Like that, this stuff's now kind of coming out, and like I've been kind of looking at it a little bit, and I had an opportunity probably about a month ago to try one, and I did, and I like it. There's definitely some new shit coming out that is doing different techniques, which is pretty fun. Like, that's how I'm trying to keep my passion. It's like, you play drums and you do a fill a certain way, then you try to, clip it up and try it open-handed this time. It's just like a little bit different. Like you're just trying your techniques out. It's neat. So I'm at that stage now where that's where it's my excitement.
This last technique, it opened up a lot of like, we're like, oh shit. And then Justin's just like, but if we did this, then I think it would pop extra. And it's just those kind of things. I mean, if it can, to us, it lacked a little bit of the bitterness that we were still wanting out of the hop, but the aroma punched up a bunch. So we're just like, okay, well, we just still do our normal bittering hop addition, but let's use this technique too, and maybe that'll open up the aroma up a little bit.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I remember seeing
not just dry hopping, but it's like dosing, like doing different things too.
Dosing.
Yeah. Well, like using. Sure.
Pew, pew, right into
try anything 3 times.
Try it 3 times.
Oh man, yeah. I remember seeing there's this guy at Cigar City called Jay the Welder, they call him.
Right on. It's a cool name.
You need one of those guys in the brew house for fucking sure.
And he invented this thing called the Spin Bot, which it looked like a tiny fermentation tank, but it was smaller, and basically it had screens on the inside and some like I think blades, and basically you run the beer through it, and it's like what's that, like a Randall, like the Randall kind of.
Yep. Did it act like a centrifuge though? Like
yeah, it spun the stuff inside with the beer, and then the beer would go out the other end.
Oh shit!
And that's how they would infuse shit like the White Oak, Kyle Eye, and
that beer is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that beer. Sorry. Dude, real quick.
And also they would throw like tea bags in there to make like blueberry muffin beers and shit like that, you know. So it's cool. It's cool to see, you know, the ingenuity. Is the right word? Yeah. Of trying to come up with new ways to do things, because you would think we figured out beer, you know, we know how to make it, but there's always still room for growth, I think.
Well, it's going to be ever evolving. I mean, it's just like, it's just always going to. I mean, you're going to have, you know, black leather jacket, Levi jeans are always going to be fucking in style. You know what I'm saying? So you're never going to lose the passion of the dude who's like dedicated to doing lagers and pilsners, and that's going to be.
I don't want that to go away
ever.
Like anybody's passion for anything, really.
But you're always going to have those new trends, and some are going to be fucking, you know, stonewashed jeans, and some are going to be sweatpants. Parachute pants. Yeah, that was another terrible.
I had a pair of pants that had like 27 zippers on it once.
Yeah. Were those parachutes or were they those Jankos? What's the Juggalo one?
That's the Janko ones.
The Jankos, yeah. I never owned Jankos, but I did make I did see everybody. Everybody was listening to Korn in high school.
And I owned Jankos. Those were big deals. Skateboard jeans, big deals.
They were skateboard version of Janko.
Pretty much. Jankos came off of the skateboard big deals. Okay. They're terrible. They're fucking terrible.
He had some big ass pants.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, they're making a comeback. I saw the Jinkos were making a comeback. New Metal's making a comeback. It's such a interesting.
It's not new anymore.
Oof.
Yeah. They're all in their 50s, but they're still up there with dreads.
Partial dreads. I mean, find your lane. You know, you're good.
Hey, man, whatever makes you happy. I don't, you know, hate on anything anymore. As I've gotten older, I just don't. I mean, unless you're just like a corporate shill, then I will definitely make fun of you. But I
mean, shit is funny at times, though. You're just like, what in the fuck? But I also feel like probably people say that about us too. So.
Sure, yeah, man. Everybody's gonna have their preferences, you know, and I'm not here to. I think we should let people enjoy things. I'm not a fan of this trolling behavior that's all over the internet. Everybody just making fun of each other, or on opposite teams or whatever. It's fine, man. If you like Nickelback, good for you.
Yeah.
Look at this picture and all that. It's hilarious.
Yeah. But I need to know you like Nickelback.
Yeah. You need to let me know.
That defines our relationship really quick.
No, I don't like Nickelback.
Yeah. We're still cool. We're just not going to be that cool.
Yeah, I'm just not going to invite you to the show next week.
Right.
or anywhere, really.
Yeah, anywhere. No.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to that point where I don't make fun of the people anymore, and I also don't. You know, I give people shit too when they start talking trash, like hard trash. I'm like, hey man, look, at the end of the day, people are buying those records.
Yeah.
They're doing something.
And you're sitting here bitching about it.
Yeah, they're making money. They don't.
You're not going to change their mind. You're the asshole at this point.
And no one's buying your record. So
that's like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, I'm older now. If new metal comes back, fine, great, have fun. You know. I'll try and check it out, but I'm not a teenager anymore where I would just I got to a point with my metal and youth that I didn't even care what music was playing as long as it was loud. There was guitars. I would go to the shows just to mosh, just to kind of, it was like a blow off steam. Like I'm just going to go run around, jump on people, have fun.
Yeah. I didn't even know what genres were when I was a kid. I remember having like fucking Twisted Sister, The Clash, and Huey Lewis and the News cassette tapes.
Fuck yeah.
It's like, don't know, don't care. I'm fucking in 4th grade.
Having fun.
Huey Lewis is on my bucket list right now, trying to get him on the show.
Oh, yeah?
For real?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Do you think you can make it? Do you got the channel?
I got the channels.
That's pretty dope.
I'm just hoping to coordinate the times, but that would be super dope because
Dream collab,
Huey Lewis. Got the drug.
That's my first concert ever.
We're gonna talk first concerts?
Huh? Yeah, let's do that. I went to Huey Lewis and the News in Vegas. That was my first ever live band thing.
Was it the full band? Was it still original OG band?
All full band, the old and the News, and then they did a whole set, and then they came back out and did an encore set, all a cappella.
That's pretty dope, dude.
So like people would like look at you like Huey Lewis a lot of times, and like I don't think he gets the respect he deserves as a musician. That dude's sick.
I think there was a good era of that kind of stuff that like when you would go and see like Hall & Oates, and it's like a full on like old school Motown set, and you're just like, what the shit? These guys are nailing it.
Yeah. So okay, first concerts. We'll start with Justen. What
first actual like larger concert would have been it was Great White. I would have been,
where was it?
8. It was at the Riverfest.
Also, no, that was more than Great White. But
yeah,
that
was Rat,
Great White.
I was getting to there.
And Warren.
and
Warren.
Yeah. Wow, nice.
Right on.
What about you, Jason?
Mine was 1986. It was Wasp. My mom took me to it.
I feel like such a dork. You guys are like Rat and Wasp, and I'm
here's the best Lewis. Is our mom took us. My mom took me to see Rat, everybody, and he got to see Wasp.
Yeah.
With my mom took us. Like she's a badass.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, oh, I want to go see Wasp so bad, and she's like, fuck it, whatever, dude. She gets there and this Blackie Lawless, fucking half his nuts are hanging out, saw blade between his legs, throwing fucking meat out to the crowd. Hey, we got this song, Close the Night, Fuck Like a Beast. My mom's like, what in the fuck did I just do to my She's back at the back bar talking to some dude who's got his kid, and she's like, did we just fucking kill our kids?
Yeah. Oh man, my mom got me into metal too, but in the opposite. That was the opposite intention from her. She was trying to stop me, and I was just like, nope.
Nope. I'm better now.
Yeah. You said don't get that, and of course I'm gonna go get that. What are you talking about?
And then the rest of their catalog.
Yeah.
My second concert was just as epic. It was a few months later, and I got to see Metallica Masters of Puppets tour, front and center, with Cliff Burton's like hair, just like. I'm a little fifth grader. Got to meet them all. It was so bad. That was the one that was like, click, you're done. You're a metalhead. Yeah. I can't turn back. I mean, there was. Place smelled like weed. Everyone was like 4 feet taller than me. It was everything you wanted. I mean, people crushing these, like, it was still like, when I give like Budweiser and regular beer props, because like the old school can logos just look dope. They were just like classic. But everyone in blue jeans, cut off shirts, like the smell of weed, the booming music, a little fog rolling off the stage. It just like everything. And I was just like this waist high little kid. It's just, I was stuck, man.
Yeah, man. I miss that feeling of being a little kid in an arena or a venue and smelling the weed and not really knowing what it was, but kind of knowing. I mean, that smells like trouble.
Yeah. Now it all smells beautiful. And you're like, there's not that like burnt seed brick stick smell. It's like, did somebody light leaves on fire in here?
Carpet?
Is this carpet? And those are the days. I feel like people really don't get the full experience of marijuana anymore, man. Like, I mean,
it's weird. It's a weird scene out here in LA. I mean, I from Florida, from having to go on a mission for like 2 hours in a shady neighborhood, with a gun, because like shit's weird. You're gonna get in trouble. To walking into a dispensary here in LA where there's a dude giving samples out like a fucking beer tasting.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then you got your grandma next to you getting her fucking medical piece.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
The first time I walked in a dispensary was wild because it looked like I was buying a fucking ring for the wife. I was like, everything's like glass cases.
Would you like to smell this one, sir?
Yeah, it's like, man, give me some blueberry. I want to get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, dude, there was a guy giving away samples of dabs at this dispensary.
That's reckless.
He said, hey, would you like a dab? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I drove here. What are you talking
about? I got to drive back, bro. Like,
tell me you got a couch with some fucking snacks back there, then I'm in.
Yeah, I can't even dab. I can't. At home, it's too much. I'm
definitely an old man. I'm a leaf person. Like if I've got to do it, I just, and I get it, man. And that's the thing is like, I don't have to, I mean, I respect it. I'm sure like I learned a long time ago that the shit that you claim, like you have this golden, like, oh, the weed we used to smoke back then, it's like, no, bro, we laid our dad out one night. He was just like, oh, I used to do this. Acapulco Gold, all this shit. And this is like in early 2000s. I was able to get like good like Northern Lights and shit like that. And I was like, look, dude, like I get it. You know, Elvis was dangerous when you were growing up, but I'm just like, we still have Black Sabbath. That was dangerous. You know, you had, Misfits, Slayer, Venom. That was dangerous. Like, but everyone that looks back at it now, like, I mean, Marilyn Manson looks like a grandma now. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that dangerous looking.
Yeah.
Or super spooky, but yeah, he's like, oh, I can handle whatever. I was like, all right, bro. I'm just telling you one time. Like, there you go. 20 minutes later. Just fucking out.
Riding the coffin.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'll drive you back home. But I mean, and so we had
scientists got involved, man.
Yeah, science and just the internet, man. Everyone's able to dissect, and kids are just smart. As much people want to talk shit about the youth, man, they're just smart, dude. I mean, you got like little 4-year-old girls just wailing on drums like Neil Peart,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's just like, well, they cracked the code. I mean, it's easier for them to just in this kind of world. But yeah, I took a hit off like a pen, and it was the first time I ever doing a pen. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I hit that shit, and I remember the dude just like, "You good?" I was like, pulled it out. I was like, "Was that a lot?" He's like, and then all of a sudden I could feel the fucking smoke in my kneecaps as I'm coughing out. I'm like, how the fuck do you take a drag so hard you get smoke down in your knees? I was came over. I thought I was having a heart attack. Like,
shipped his ass off. It was during a beer fest.
It was during a beer fest. It was like,
shipped his ass to the hotel for a while.
It was like in the dead heat of July, 100 degrees. This dude comes, he's like, oh man, I love Wake. Look, I've got a 2006 Dark Lord or whatever, some ancient ass Dark Lord. And he had it in his backpack all day long, and he wanted to share it with us. I just looked at Justen. I was like, bro, you got to take one for the fucking team. I cannot drink that right now. It's like, I know that's going to be 90 degrees because it's 120 out here. I'm getting tunnel vision. They're playing like Electric Wizard, and it sounds like when I used to do nitrous and stuff. Like, is everything was getting wobbly and shit? And I'm like, I remember that dude passed me this glass and just fucking burning hot. And he's so proud. He's had this shit for like 10 years or 12 years.
Tastes like teriyaki sauce at this point.
Oh, yeah. Soy sauce. And it's no diss to the beer at all, but it obviously hasn't been handled properly if he's pulling it out of a non-iced backpack. I mean, it's like, he hands it to me, and I did one of these. I just grabbed Justen's, and I fucking dumped it, handed him mine, and just fucking walked away with an empty glass. I was like, I'm going back to the fucking hotel.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then he came back and tried to hit the pin again. I was like,
he's like, man, I will punch you in your fucking face. I was like, I need to see if I was actually having a stroke or if that weed fucked me up that hard.
How you feeling right now? You're not having a stroke? Yeah. Dude, don't hit that fucking pin again.
So, I didn't hit it again, but I learned my lesson that like new kid weed is heavy duty shit.
Absolutely. And the dabs are like a whole other level. It's like crack.
That's me. I just feel like it makes it look like a drug again. I was like, we spent all this time trying to get this legal, and now you want to be a crackhead?
You want to pull out a blowtorch?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Are we making food? What the fuck?
Putting solvents with shit. I'm just like, nah, dude, I'll just stick to my old man leaf.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, I have one of these pens, but this is super light, and I like it because it kind of, it's like, it keeps me going.
Yeah.
As I start getting sober, I'm like, doo-doo-doo. I get back to the middle ground. And then when I have nothing to do, that's when I'll go outside and smoke a bowl.
Right.
Because I'm just going to chill. But this kind of gets me coasting through life. But dabs, dude, I did it once. And I mean, I had a beer dinner meeting with this like fancy ass chef from Miami. And I had a bunch of beer that we were going to sit down and taste it and figure out a menu, 5-course meal, this whole thing. And right before one of my other accounts, the guy's like, hey, you want to blaze? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll smoke some weed. And he pulls out the contraption with the torch and the thing. And I took, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I took it like a bong hit. I'm like, and he's like, no. I'm like, oh shit, what?
Right.
and immediately start coughing and like for 10 minutes, just coughing up my life. And
it's
then
Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, it's like, wait, no, don't do that.
No, don't take that. Oh man, you just did the most acid I've ever seen anyone take in my life.
Oh my god, I have a love-hate with Cheech and Chong because my name is Eddie Torres.
Oh yeah,
you know how many people come at me with the
E.T.
the extra testicle. I'm like, Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm bald. I look like a testicle. Yes, okay.
All right. Somebody had to get named it though, man.
All right. So last question, because we're almost at we're at the hour. But
Sorry, man.
two things, and it's dissimilar to first beer ever, not craft beer. First beer you had as a child, because I know it was at a childhood level.
Right.
I mean, I had Heineken when I was 7.
Right.
And then your go-to shitty beer. If you have you're at a place, and, what's your shitty beer?
So first
Beer ever, and then the shittiest beer.
Yours is Old Milwaukee.
Old Mill is a pull tab. My grandpa gave it to me.
How old were you?
Oh shit, I don't even know. Probably 5. So I wanted to try it. I was up his ass about it, and he's like, "Here," and I drank it. I was like, "That's not good."
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I probably might have. But the first one that I actually remember was walking to school in 6th or 7th grade, and my buddy's like, "Hey man, you want a beer?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, whatever." He gets in his dad's camper that's been sitting all winter, and it's fucking. This might be a thing where I just when July hits, it fucking does something with beer with me. But it was PBR that was sitting in a trailer, and it was fucking hot, and it was hot beer too, and we drank it. And I just remember going damn, people actually fucking drink this stuff. I kept drinking it, but in my brain, I'm like, I guess I'll do this, at least 3 more times just to make sure. But it did become our ritual. We drank that whole case over the course of a month. We would sneak in the camper because it's obvious his dad didn't remember that beer.
Yeah. And so your shitty beer, your go-to shitty beer now, currently?
Mine's probably still PBR.
PBR.
My dad drinks it. Yeah. So if I end up in one of our little hole in the walls, I'll drink that. I don't know if I consider High Life shitty, but I probably do.
It's the champagne of beers. How dare you?
Right. Yeah. I'm no stranger to danger. Somebody's gonna if somebody's mowing the lawn across the street and they throw me a Busch Light and it's hot out and I'm weed eating, I'm drinking that fucking beer. Okay. But a lot of shitty beer.
Yeah. Hams for me, and it's
Hams. Okay.
Shitty. I like it. So
yeah. PBR.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine's Banquet.
Oh, I love Coors Banquet.
Yeah. I don't consider that.
I don't think
shitty.
that's bad, man.
No. I think a lot of huge beer I think is actually pretty decent. Banquet's fucking killer, man.
It's a good beer. I call it shitty because it's a big corporate, thing.
Yeah. No, I got what you're saying. I just think that there's a lot of good beer even in that corporate level. It's just, you can go on the dark side once in a while. It's not going anywhere.
When was your first beer? When and what?
It was Heineken. When I was 7, my dad used to run this illegal underground domino gambling ring.
Fuck yeah.
That is fucking baller as fuck, dude.
And he would hire me to serve beers at 7 to his gang members. So
holy shit.
So I'd walk out with a little tray with all these Heinekens, and they would give me 50s or whatever.
We got to have you on our podcast. We're going to make a podcast just to talk about your dad's domino ring.
That's just one of the things he did. There's a lot.
Yeah, no,
he's currently in Mexico fleeing the federal government. So there's a lot. But yeah, I'm down, by the way. But I was down there serving those beers, and I remember one time my dad's like, "Here, try it." I'm like, "Okay." Took a sip. Awful. I hated it. I was like, I'm never drinking beer. And then college happened, so.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Well, guys, Jason, Justen, thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with me. You guys are killing it. Like I said, I love the branding. I love the beer. I love the mentality, the culture of it all. Where can people order? I mean, I know that shipping beer is a problem and distribution is limited, but if somebody wants to get some Wake beer, what's the best option right now outside of living there?
Right, find a friend in Rock Island or Quad City area.
Well, in Illinois, we're pretty much in Illinois now. Mm-hmm. In Iowa, we ship a couple times a year to Philadelphia area.
Okay,
that's about it. Otherwise,
it's difficult because if it's a hoppy beer, you want to get it fresh.
Right.
And a lot of distributors, they hold on to it for too long, or, between the paperwork and the red tape and all the bullshit, it's already, by the time it gets to you, it's 2 months old. It's not the same. I'm spoiled too.
If you're cool, just hit us up in the DM. Well, we can figure
We'll
something
hook you up. All right.
Figure it out.
I might be doing another Not Fest beer pit box. If I do, you're definitely going to be on it. So
Awesome.
Hit us up.
yeah. And there's other, we'll talk.
Yeah, man.
But guys, yes, follow at Wake Brewing on all of the things, right?
Yep.
And support independent breweries, independent musicians, independent artists, all of the things that are independent. And some corporate beers every once in a while, like you guys said, a PBR here and there.
Get in where you fit in.
Yeah, right, man. Hey, guys, thanks again. Real fun, and we'll talk soon.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.